The dream was simple: a finished kitchen, a home that finally felt like yours, the whole family gathered around the table on a Sunday. Then the walls came down, the budget blew up, and you were left standing in a gutted house wondering where all the money went. Here is the part that really stings. A lot of that spending was never coming back. Real estate agents have watched buyers walk away from these exact upgrades for years. These are 10 home upgrades that slowly drain your savings and hand you almost nothing in return. Before we get into the list, let me give you the one number that changes how you see every project on it. This year, homeowners across the country are expected to spend more than $500 billion fixing up their houses. That is not a typo. $500 billion. And on average, for every single dollar that goes into a renovation, only about 74 cents comes back when the house sells. That means the typical project is losing you a quarter of your money the moment the work is finished. Some upgrades do far better than that, and some, the ones we are about to walk through, do so much worse that they belong in a category all their own. Part of why this matters so much right now is that more of us are staying put. With the cost of moving where it is, more than half of American homeowners say they would rather improve the home they have than go buy a new one. So the money is flowing into renovations like never before. The median project runs around $20,000, and here is the scary part. Close to 4 out of every 10 homeowners end up blowing past their budget before the job is done. That is a lot of people spending a lot of money on faith, hoping it all comes back. A good chunk of it will not. And when a project goes wrong, it rarely goes wrong quietly. It shows up as a couple standing in a torn open house that was supposed to be finished months ago, staring at a number on a contractor invoice that keeps climbing, wondering how the dream turned into this. The way the pros measure this is something called return on investment, and it is not complicated. You take how much value a project adds to your home when you sell, and you divide it by what the project cost you. A firm called Zonda publishes the numbers every year in a report the whole industry trusts, the Cost versus Value Report. When a project returns 200%, you are doubling your money. When it returns 40%, you are handing more than half of it to the wind. Keep that simple idea in your head because it is about to expose some projects you probably thought were smart. And here is the pattern that should reframe everything you are about to hear. The projects that pay you back are almost never the exciting ones. Year after year, the strongest returns in the entire report belong to the least glamorous work you can imagine. Replacing a tired garage door returns nearly triple what it costs. Swapping a beat-up front door for a fresh steel one returns more than double. A strip of manufactured stone veneer across the front of the house pays back more than double as well. None of that is a dream renovation. All of it is cheap, fast, and frankly boring, and it beats every single showpiece on this list. So as we count down, keep asking yourself one question. Was this built to impress a buyer walking up to the house, or to impress the person who already lives inside it? Number 10. The sunroom that never pays for itself. On paper, a sunroom sounds wonderful. Extra light, a cozy spot for morning coffee, a little slice of the outdoors you can enjoy without the bugs and the wind. Here is what nobody tells you at the design showroom. A sunroom addition typically returns only around 2/3 of what you spend on it, which already drops it near the bottom of the pack. But the real problem is sneakier than a weak return. When an appraiser walks your home to decide what it is worth, they often will not count that sunroom as real living space at all. In a lot of climates, it is not heated and cooled the same way the rest of the house is, so on the paperwork that actually sets your home value. The room barely exists. You spent $30,000 or $40,000, and the official number that decides your net worth shrugs. Now compare that to finishing a basement or an attic. Those spaces almost always add usable square footage that does count for less money per foot, and they stay comfortable all year. A sunroom is a beautiful thing to sit in. It is a painful thing to expect a payback from. If you truly want that indoor-outdoor feeling, a covered patio or a screened porch usually costs far less and carries none of the pretend square footage baggage that drags your appraisal down. Number 9, elaborate landscaping and water features. There is a moment in a lot of renovations where somebody gets ambitious in the backyard. A koi pond appears, a tiered stone fountain, imported plants that need a specialist on call just to keep them alive. It photographs like a resort, and for about a week you feel like you are on vacation in your own yard. Then you try to sell, and the fantasy meets the market. Ask any experienced agent what a buyer sees when they walk into a yard like that, and the answer is not beauty. They see a second job, they see weekends lost to skimming leaves out of a pond, a water bill they do not understand yet, and a pump that will fail on the hottest weekend of the year. Fancy water features and exotic landscaping genuinely scare buyers off because everything gorgeous back there arrives with a maintenance contract attached. Now here is the twist that should change how you spend. Simple, tidy landscaping, fresh mulch, trimmed trees, a few healthy native plants adds more to your resale than the elaborate stuff ever will. You can pour $20,000 into turning your yard into a showpiece and then watch a buyer mentally subtract money, because now the upkeep is their problem. Curb appeal absolutely matters, but it is the tidy, effortless kind that sells, not the high-maintenance kind that warns a buyer their weekends are about to disappear. Number 8, the whirlpool tub and the over-the-top bathroom. Somewhere along the way, the giant jetted tub became the symbol of a luxury bathroom, the thing you were supposed to want. Here is the reality now. That freestanding whirlpool tub that ate half your bathroom is often the very first thing a buyer wants to rip out. To them, it is not luxury. It is a huge, awkward, hard-to-clean water hog sitting exactly where a great walk-in shower or real storage could have gone. And it goes deeper than one tub. An overly opulent bathroom remodel, the kind with heated floors, imported stone, and fixtures that cost more than a used car, tends to return under half of what you put into it. You will spend like you are building a private spa, and the market will pay you back like you swapped a faucet. Think about someone like Marla and her husband Terrence, a couple who put a lavish soaking tub and imported tile into their main bath. They loved it for 3 years. When they listed, their agent gently told them the buyers most excited about the house all asked the same question. Could the tub come out? A clean, updated, sensible bathroom beats a lavish one at resale nearly every time, because the lavish version was built around your taste, and your taste is not the person writing the check. Number 7, the home theater and the wall of built-in electronics. This one stings, because it used to be the ultimate flex. A dedicated theater room, the projector, the surround sound wired deep into the walls, the reclining seats bolted to a stepped floor. Real estate experts now put full theater rooms right near the top of the list of upgrades that simply will not pay you back. And the reason is almost funny. The technology beat the room. A person can walk into any store and carry home a massive, gorgeous television for a few $100s, then stream nearly everything ever made from a normal couch. Nobody needs a wired-in cave anymore, so a buyer looks at that dedicated theater and sees a room they cannot use for anything else. The same trap swallows expensive built-in sound systems, showy pool lighting, and yes, home saunas, which one investor flatly called a huge miss for return on investment, because people install them dreaming of daily spa nights and then use them about 4 times a year. Take Reed, who wired his basement into a proper theater with fixed seating for 8. 2 buyers later told his agent the exact same thing. They loved the house, but they wanted that room to be a normal den they could actually live in. If a feature only works for one very specific hobby, the next owner does not see a perk. They see square footage they now have to reclaim. The safer move is flexible space. A comfortable open den where a big television and a decent soundbar do 90% of the job, and where the next owner can see an office, a playroom, or a guest room instead of a single-use box. Number 6. Bold, over-personalized finishes. This is the cheapest mistake on the whole list to make, and one of the most damaging. It is the deep emerald accent wall, the dramatic floor-to-ceiling wallpaper, the hand-painted tile you fell in love with on a trip and had to have. While you live there, all of it reads as personality and warmth. When you sell, agents have a much blunter phrase for it. One called bold and over-personalized finishes a death sentence for resale, and it is easy to understand why. A buyer does not step inside and think, how charming and original. They think, how much time and money will it cost me to undo all of this before I can move in? There are agents who will tell you plainly that any wall color that is not white or off-white now gets received poorly, because a neutral wall lets a stranger imagine their own furniture, their own life, their own future in the room. A bold wall forces them to imagine a renovation instead, and every renovation they imagine is a number they subtract from your asking price. You do not have to live inside a beige box to protect your money, but understand that your very boldest choices are the ones a buyer will hold against you at the negotiating table. Number 5. Turning your garage into a room. On the surface, this feels like free square footage sitting right there for the taking. You have a 2-car garage. You only ever park on one side, so you frame in the other half, drop some flooring, and call it a bonus room, a gym, a home office. The trouble is that buyers in this country love garages, and they love them staying garages. There was a survey showing that roughly a third of first-time buyers were specifically hunting for a home with a garage, which means the moment you convert yours, you can erase your house from those buyers' searches entirely. One investor put it about as bluntly as it gets, saying, "We want garages to be garages first." A 400 square foot bonus room that is not properly heated or cooled does not read as bonus luxury to a modern buyer. It reads as a garage somebody stole, and now their car sits out in the weather and their storage has nowhere left to go. Say your neighbor Gwen turns her garage into a home gym with rubber flooring and mirrors. It is perfect for her. Then life changes, she lists the house, and buyer after buyer walks in and immediately starts calculating what it will cost to turn it back. Unless you live somewhere parking honestly does not matter, taking a garage offline is one of the fastest ways to shrink the pool of people who will even look at your home. If this is already saving you from a 5-figure mistake, do yourself a favor and subscribe and stick around, because breaking down the money traps nobody warns you about is what happens here every single week. Now let's get to number 4, and fair warning, this is the one that starts arguments in the comments. Number 4, solar panels. Take a breath, because this one is more complicated than the internet wants it to be, and I want to be fair to it. Solar can absolutely lower your monthly power bill, and a fully owned, well-installed system can even be a real advantage when you sell, as long as the buyer clearly understands what they are getting. But here is where it curdles into a money trap. A huge share of the solar in this country is leased or wrapped in complicated financing, and those arrangements can quietly wreck a home sale. When the panels are not owned outright, that contract has to transfer to the new owner, and it can complicate their mortgage approval and add to their monthly costs in ways nobody warned them about. One seller described watching buyers back out on the very day of closing. because they discovered a solar payment of around $120 a month that had never been disclosed. $120 a month is $1,400 a year of surprise bill dropped on someone who thought they were buying free sunshine. Imagine being that seller, all packed, keys practically in hand, watching the whole deal evaporate over a lease nobody read closely. Owned panels, explained honestly, can help your sale. A leased system bolted on because a video told you it adds value is often the exact thing that scares your buyer off. Go solar to save on electricity if the math truly works for your roof and your bill. Do not go solar expecting the next owner to hand you a premium for the privilege. Number 3, the high-end primary suite edition. This is the big dream project, the his and hers everything, the spa bathroom, the walk-in closet the size of a spare bedroom, the little sitting area you saw in a magazine and could not stop thinking about. It is also, historically, one of the single most expensive things a homeowner can build, running well over $100,000 once you go truly upscale. And an upscale primary suite edition delivers some of the weakest numbers in the entire remodeling world, often recouping only somewhere between a third and half of what it cost. Run that on a real project, and it is brutal. Sink $150,000 into your dream suite, and you might be lucky to see $50,000 or $60,000 of it show up when you sell. The rest simply evaporates. It bought you comfort while you lived there, and there is real value in comfort. Nobody is denying that. But measured as an investment, it is one of the worst bets in the whole house. And the reason is the same reason that keeps surfacing on this list. The more lovingly a project is tailored to your specific dream, the less the next person is willing to pay to inherit it. Think about a couple pouring their savings into a suite designed around exactly how they live, the specific closet layout, the particular tile, the sitting nook angled at their favorite window. A buyer walks through and feels none of that meaning. They just see a very expensive room that is not quite how they would have done it, and they price it accordingly. If you are going to build the suite, build it because you will love waking up in it for the next 10 years, not because a spreadsheet promised you it pays. Number 2, the in-ground swimming pool. Nothing on this list looks more like you made it than a pool shimmering in the backyard. It also might be the single most reliable way ever invented to set your money on fire. Installing an in-ground pool commonly runs somewhere between $30,000 and $60,000 just to put it in the ground. Then the real bill begins. Cleaning, chemicals, repairs, a higher insurance premium, opening it and closing it every season, all of it stacks up to thousands of dollars a year, every single year, whether anyone swims or not. One expert described pools as straight brutal on return on investment, calling them far more of a status symbol these days than a genuine investment. And in a lot of markets, the story is worse than a weak return. Plenty of buyers flat out do not want a pool at all. They see drowning risk with small kids, they see the endless maintenance, they see the liability, and some of them will make tearing it out a written condition of buying your house. Sit with that for a second. Someone like Priscilla spends $50,000 to build a pool, pays to maintain it for 10 years, and then pays a third time to rip it out so a family will finally make an offer. If a pool will bring your family years of real joy, then wonderful. Buy it for the joy with clear eyes. Just never let anyone tell you it is an investment, because the numbers will call that a lie. And if you are the one buying a house that already has a pool, understand you are inheriting every bit of that too, the maintenance, the insurance, the season after season of upkeep, so treat it in the price the same way you would treat a roof near the end of its life. Number 1, the major upscale kitchen remodel. And here we are, right back where this whole thing started, standing in the middle of that gutted dream kitchen. This is the most believed myth in all of home improvement, the comforting idea that a big, gorgeous, down to the studs kitchen gut job is the smartest money you can possibly spend. The data does not politely disagree. It laughs out loud. A major kitchen renovation typically recoups only somewhere between 38 and 50% of its cost at resale. Put a $35,000 high-end kitchen in, and you can watch $17,000 or $18,000 of it vanish the day the last worker drives away. Go truly upscale, past $40,000 or $50,000, and the returns get even thinner. Because diminishing returns hit a kitchen harder than almost any room in the house. Now do not misread me here, because there is a world of difference between a major remodel and a minor one. A minor kitchen refresh, new hardware, fresh paint, updated fixtures, a smart counter swap is one of the best returning interior projects in the entire country, and it often pays back most of what you spend. The waste was never updating your kitchen. The waste is gutting it to the bones and chasing a magazine spread when the buyer would have happily paid the same price for the tasteful, affordable version. Think back to that couple standing in the wreckage of the very room that was supposed to fix everything. That is the cruelest part of a torn-apart kitchen. Half of what got smashed out was value the family already owned, and the sledgehammer was swinging at their own money. So let's pull all of this together, because there is one single thread running through every one of these 10. The projects that lose you money are almost always the ones built around one person's very specific dream. The pool, the theater, the sunroom, the bold wallpaper, the spa suite. Meanwhile, the boring stuff, the fresh front door, the clean neutral paint, the tidy yard, the sensible kitchen refresh, quietly hands your money back, and sometimes a little extra on top. Resale value has almost nothing to do with how much you personally love a feature. It comes down to how easily a total stranger can imagine their own life unfolding inside your walls. So, spend on your home because it makes your everyday life better. And walk into every big project with your eyes wide open about how little of it is truly coming back. There is nothing wrong with spending money to enjoy your own home. The real mistake is telling yourself that enjoyment is an investment, and then acting shocked when the market disagrees at the worst possible moment. Know which one you are really doing before you sign the contract, and you will never be the person standing in a gutted room wondering where all of it went. If you want the deeper version of all this, the real skill sitting underneath every single one of these decisions is understanding how money actually works. The stuff about spending, value, and building real wealth that somehow never got taught in a single classroom. I poured everything I know about the money lessons schools never taught into another video, and it is the natural next step from right here if you are ready to stop guessing and start deciding on purpose. But before you go, I really do want to hear from you, because this one gets personal. Have you ever poured money into a home upgrade you now regret, or dodged one you are quietly grateful you skipped? Maybe you learned it the hard way, or maybe you watched someone in your family learn it for you. Drop your story down in the comments and tell me what you spent it on, what it ended up teaching you, and what you would do completely differently if you had the chance again. Some of the best lessons in that comment section are going to save a total stranger from a very expensive mistake. So please do not keep yours to yourself.